My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Sitting down with us now, Fred Rubino, a comedian and a guy who is well known to these airwaves because he's on with us every Friday. Fred, great to have you back.
Thank you for having me back. This is a great opportunity to let everybody know how funny the news could actually be.
That's true. You know, you wouldn't necessarily think so if you just kind of watch some of these normal news broadcasts because they say, breaking news tonight, something terrible and something horrific. But even if it is something sort of terrible and horrific, you can still laugh about it.
Of course.
You have to.
You know, that's the way the news is. How many times have you turned on the news and they said, this just in, a massive leak of chemicals, and you're like, what? And then it's not in your town, and you're like, what's for breakfast?
Very true, Fred. You're absolutely right about that. All right, well, let's get into some of these news stories, shall we?
Sure.
Fred Rubino, a guest of the show here, The Other Side of Midnight. I'm James Flippin. So, Fred, a man was accused of murder, but now prosecutors say they've found evidence of a chilling plot to frame him. What do you think of that?
I looked into this, and it looks like that this guy didn't make too many great life choices, because if you're the number one suspect when there's like a string of crimes right away, odds are you're not the best person anyway.
Right.
You know, like, it's not a good sign. It's nothing to put you on your resume. That's what I'm saying. I graduated top of my class. I was the class president, and I was the number one suspect in a string of murders across the Midwest. Unless you're like a lawyer, that's a good resume.
That's true.
You know, what are you doing here at Goldberg and Goldberg? Who am I? I'm the guy who got away with 18 murders. You're hired.
Right. It's like, okay, actually, that means that we might want to hire you. But this guy, the prosecutor for Jefferson County, where this took place, I guess, what was it, in Louisville? Basically, he said that the criminal justice system is a search for the truth. Multiple agencies, they work tirelessly in this pursuit. And he does have a GoFundMe page, this guy who was accused.
Of course, everybody has a GoFundMe page now, you know. But listen, they have no IT people in the Indiana PD, you know. Every time I see a police report or something from outside New York, I appreciate how great the NYPD is.
Yeah.
Because this guy had like fake Facebook accounts saying, hey, that other guy's a murderer.
Yeah.
You know, and they didn't even look into it. There was nothing to look into. Oh, that's just like, there's a lot of homeless around here. A homeless guy is dead maybe around the corner. And then the cop's going to go, that's probably that Flippin guy. He's always talking about crime all morning.
Yeah.
And then on Fridays, he's making jokes about it.
Well, you know, you laugh, Fred, but, you know, last week I missed you. You were in with Noam because I had to catch this flight, and I always get stopped by the TSA. And I tell my husband, I think it's because I criticize the FBI and stuff on the air. I'm on some list somewhere.
Okay, maybe this is my last time on this show because I travel a lot. No, I don't know Flippin.
Yeah.
Who, the guy who's responsible for those string of murders?
The homeless guy, he's dead down the street. It's that yacker up on the radio, I think.
Yeah, so I think they need an IT guy.
That makes sense to me, actually. I think every good police department probably should have one of those. So, all right, how about this one? A Michigan lawmaker has been penalized because what he did was he covered up his Republican colleague's car in plastic wrap, pulling a prank. That's a cruel prank, Fred.
It's just a prank, you know? Like Hillary Clinton bugged the president's Trump Tower.
Yeah, what did she do? She had this whole story made up about, he's peeing on prostitutes. Then they connected to this whole nefarious plot to work with, one of the biggest alleged enemies of the U.S. in the past 100 years.
He's a Soviet.
That's all, it's just a prank.
It's a prank. She wiped all her servers clean, nothing. But she put saran wrap on this guy's car. You know what? Maybe maybe she's Italian. That's what we do. We cover everything in plastic.
Everything's got to be covered. Like the couch, obviously. Like your couch has got to be covered in the saran wrap. Right.
My parents' first remote control TV, the remote control was covered in plastic. I kid you not.
That's awesome.
Because they said you'll wear out the paint on the buttons.
Numbers, right.
And we still did. I said, you still have to push it, but, maybe that's all it was. I remember my father's car. When my father got his car, they covered it in plastic, the seats, and then put sheets over the seats.
Like bed sheets.
Yeah, so you didn't get the plastic dirty.
It's amazing.
But you know what? Maybe he was Sicilian. Maybe he was just covering up a crime in the car.
That's also true.
Like Pulp Fiction.
He figured, hey, I want to keep whatever DNA is kind of in there.
Yeah, maybe I had him all wrong. Maybe he wasn't very neat.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? But in every Italian, I looked in the trunk. There was always like a golf club. He never golfed. There was a shovel.
Yeah. Whoa.
He never gardened.
He didn't garden. No. Okay.
Yeah. And if you go in an Italian's trunk and you see a 9-iron, that's called Exhibit A.
Yeah. He's not working on his handicap.
No. He never golfed before.
This was, I guess, a BMW, so maybe that's why it was raised to a different level than, the Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, if it was a
server.
Tesla, they would say, don't worry about it. Burn it. They'd lock her up for not burning it.
They'd be like, you put plastic on it? Did you cause any damage other than that? Or no keying? No scratching? Yeah, that's a good point. All right, well, you know what? In your new Tesla or your new BMW, maybe you can have your next hot fashion accessory, Fred, because this is a purse that is made from real T-Rex skin.
Now, I don't believe this for a moment. There's no way to prove this. This is just, they don't even really know what T-Rex skin was. Like, some people say that T-Rex had feathers.
That's right, yeah.
So I don't think this is really happening. And it seems like in this world, the rarer the animal, the more people want to wear it.
That's also a good point. Yeah.
That's why Bigfoot hides.
He figures that's going to be the hot new coat is Bigfoot.
That's right.
Bigfoot, I should say.
I'm
Sasquatch.
saying,
what are you wearing? Oh, it's the new Squatch.
It's the new Squatch. It's Bigfoot boots. I want those Yeti pants.
I could see that.
That's my new porno name, Yeti Pants.
Oh, nice. See, you got to have a new one every week. Yeti Pants.
I'm not sure if that's good or bad.
And it's funny because we were talking about the Utah Hockey Club. Some people thought they were going to be the Yetis. Like, they thought that would be a cool thing for them with the mountains and the snow and all that kind of stuff. But they ended up going with the Mammoths.
Oh, wow.
So whether it's Yeti Pants or Mammoth Pants, you could use that as a porn
They like
name.
Extinct things, right? Or things that don't exist.
Either the fantastical possibly don't exist or the one that did once and doesn't now. But
yeah, they should call it the Hunter laptops because that supposedly didn't exist either.
No, we've decided that did exist as a matter of fact.
Well, that's a prank. It was a prank.
We're just kidding. Come on.
This reminds me of when the Pentagon came out with the ghost plane.
Right, yes.
They're
like,
look
at how do we know that it really exists?
$2 billion. I can't see it. Exactly. Look at the job we did. The only people that will buy that bag are really old people who their skin, the only skin that looks worse than yours.
By comparison.
T-Rex.
Yeah, it's like how, a young woman on an old guy's arm. It's like, all of a sudden he's looking all attractive, and he's sort of, by comparison or whatever. Wow.
Yeah, I'm 90 years old, but I'm no T-Rex. Look at me. I think, remember the guy last time he was having sex with a cadaver?
Yes.
he would like that purse.
He would. He would be very into that purse.
Skin is skin.
Yes, exactly.
Love is love.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. That's the message. Love is love for a T-Rex bag.
That would definitely be his way of, of approaching it. So all right. So we're not so sure about that. Apparently, it's being grown from fossilized remains. The skin is being grown from fossilized remains, and it doesn't necessarily look feathery to me. It looks leathery.
Well, you could say anything then, right? Then it's it's T-Rex skin. We have dodo bird feathers. We have the unicorn tail on it. You could say anything when it doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that's true. They could kind of get away with a number of different things.
That's my new porno name, Unicorn Tail.
Unicorn tail. Yeah, unicorn. I mean, because again, if it's the unicorn, then it would potentially be most of the time on the front.
Right.
But if it's the tail,
Who's gonna know?
and now we're doing all kinds of interesting stuff. Top the tail.
I gotta go out and get some unicorn tail tonight.
You do that, Fred. Good luck.
I don't even know what that means.
I think we know what that means. You're chasing tail.
I know what that means.
All right. Well, how about this one? Fred, a woman thought her life was over when she noticed a weird smell in her hotel room. Not only that, because that's bad enough, right?
Yeah.
She found a man hiding under her bed.
Wow. And it wasn't me.
No, I don't believe so.
This is good news.
This was in Tokyo. So unless you've been in Japan anytime recently, I think you're in the clear.
Well, you know what? I'm from New York, and there's been many times in my life when I either walked past or sat next to someone that's really smelly on the train and in a cab. Or
Sure.
Not just French people. I'm talking about everybody.
The general population.
Yeah. And I never thought for a minute when I passed that really smelly person that it might be me.
How does PwC take your company to the leading edge? They bring the sharpest minds in tech to your team, so you can bring the ideas that will transform your business. They're passionate about your industry, so you can walk into any room with every advantage. And they're with you every step of the way, so you can know you're headed in the right direction. PwC builds for what's next, so you can get there now. Get started at pwc.com/us/leading edge.
This episode is brought to you by Loom by Atlassian. Are you feeling stuck at work? Get your team unstuck with Loom video messaging and move work forward. Use Loom to simultaneously record both your screen and yourself to share a quick update, provide feedback, train a colleague, and everything in between. Plus, add Loom AI to your meetings for instant written notes and recordings. Try Loom today at Loom.com. That's LOOM.com.
This episode is brought to you by GM Genuine Parts and AC Delco. Get the most out of your vehicle with GM Genuine Parts and AC Delco original equipment. The only parts designed, engineered, tested, and backed by General Motors. You can find your perfect fit for most makes and models and choose from 3 tiers of parts, including GM OE or gold and silver aftermarket parts. Visit gmparts.com for more information.
Jif peanut butter. It's that Jiffing good, it doesn't really need advertising. So instead, enjoy the calming sounds of the ocean. Jif. Ooh, it's that Jiffing good. Get your Jif at Jif.com.
Yeah, so you're in essence saying like you kind of have to have that self-awareness that maybe it's you.
I'm saying there's something wrong with this girl. That she thought this horrendous odor at first was herself. She thought it was her hair.
Wow.
I don't understand that. And then she said she was traveling alone. Yet now I know why you're traveling alone.
That's a really good point. Yeah, she
because
thought
you stink.
She thought that it could be coming from her hair or maybe the bed sheets. But then she realized it was coming from under the bed.
Listen, there's no reason to be smelly in this day and age.
But don't you think that that's sort of a secondary concern to the fact that this guy actually was, in fact, under her bed? She said she jumped out, looks under there, and she sees eyes staring back at her.
Oh, yeah, there's nothing good that could come with finding a stranger under your bed.
Even if he is nice smelling.
Even if he is nice smelling. Usually they aren't, but I'm saying that if you're a woman and you think it's you smelling, there's no reason. Everything geared towards women is scented.
That's true.
My wife came home with garbage bags yesterday that was scented.
But I like the scented garbage bags.
Of course.
It helps because the food stinks.
I know, but if my garbage bag could smell like a pine forest, this Japanese girl could at least smell like some kind of flower.
You're very worried about how she smells. What do you think she smells like?
I'm saying she smells like that guy underneath the bed. This sounds like kismet. Maybe she missed an opportunity. Two smelly people meeting.
Perhaps that's what kind of drew them together. Their combined olfactory sense said, "Oh, I'm being brought to this person like a Pepe Le Pew cartoon."
Right. It's like two obese people meeting, or two, whatever it is. That's. And here's another thing that got me in this. Guys, we rate whoever we're going to sleep with 1 to 10. It's a terrible thing we do. I'm saying I'm choosing a 6 that smells good over a 10 that smells like garbage.
Yeah, that's a fascinating, wow. So that's a fascinating spread. So in other words, you're saying a 6 is worth it.
A 6 that smells like Coco Rabanne or whatever.
Right. Now, what if you're talking not quite so bad smelling, but like an 8 versus a 2 that smells amazing?
You mean an 8 with like a whiff?
8
Did I catch a whiff?
8, you might catch a whiff. 2, but she's amazing hygiene. She's a 2, but she smells great.
I'm going to take the 8 with a whiff.
Okay, you're going to catch the whiff.
Drink.
You're going to have a little snifter.
Yes. Once you get past 8, though, you got to smell okay.
Okay.
You got to. Once you're below an 8, you have to smell okay.
All right. Well, you know what, Fred? Unfortunately, we're just about running out of time here.
Okay.
But I did want to ask you about this one quickly. Cheryl Crow says an armed man showed up at her home after she sold her Tesla in protest of Elon Musk and Doge.
Yeah. You know what?
Unacceptable, right?
Well, I think she's become an alarmist now. First, she sells a Tesla. She makes a big video out of it. Now she's in Tennessee. Everyone carries a gun in Tennessee. It's like saying I was in China and I saw someone eating rice. You're making something that doesn't exist. She didn't even know the person, and it wasn't in her house. It was out her window, a guy with a gun. Be happy he's not under your bed smelling like garbage.
He could smell terrible.
That's right.
He probably smells pretty good, this guy, as a matter of fact.
I'm sure he did.
And he's outside, so you don't have to worry about it anyway.
She's lucky to have him.
Fred Rubino, he's a comedian. You can check him out on social media, Fred Rubino, and also he's got gigs. You want to tell us about something that's coming up soon?
Just go to fredrubino.com and see where I'm playing in Jersey, in Florida, Wisconsin, all up and down the East Coast. And also at fredrubino.com on Tuesdays afternoon, I do a live podcast. The link is right there. So join me live.
All right, so hear that, Benjamin in Wisconsin? Fred Rubino's coming to see you.
There you go.
1-800-848-9222. Check out fredrubino.com, and we'll be right back on the other side of midnight. I'm James Flippin. Flip out.
The other side of midnight. Thanks for listening to The Other Side of Midnight. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?